What does it mean to be a United Methodist? What comes with that identity? How does it differentiate our church community from others? Would you be able to spot a Methodist if you saw one? Methodists, like other Christians, believe in the Holy Trinity, salvation by faith and scriptural holiness. Salvation by faith is perhaps the most central belief, along with a strong commitment to social justice, service, and outreach. The purpose of this presentation is to really strike home the importance of salvation by faith, and to excite the viewer to want to live into this important concept of our identity.
Hope is what we crave, and that will never change. So it stands in flight. I need a drop of grace to carry me today. A simple song to say. It's written on my soul. Hope's what we crave.
Methodism is a global denomination influenced by many cultural expressions, yet it maintains several core beliefs and practices. The teachings and practices of John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, play a crucial role in shaping our Methodist identity. Wesley's theology was, by its very nature, practical. His goal was to make religious ideas and theological concepts understandable, so that Christians could live out their faith in tangible ways. Addressing both spiritual and physical needs, Wesley saw mission work as a way to express God's love in the world. Acts of faith were methods for applying religious ideas to one's everyday existence. Basically, they're a strategy for completing one's salvation, exhibiting love for both God and neighbor. For Wesley, genuine faith naturally led to action. If we have genuine faith, then nothing will get in our way of wanting to live out this faith through action and service. At our very core is an engine roaring to go out into the world and serve others. If our lives have been transformed by God, then we are catapulted into a new dimension where love and service are at the core of our identity. Faith without works is, well, just dead.
When the storm clouds roll over me, when when I'm seized by uncertainty, when the odds are too great, when I bend from the weight, I believe, I believe, I believe. When the night falls and darkness closes in, and the voice of doubt comes creeping in, when my eyes start to blur, when I can't...
If we stop for a moment for personal and community accountability, where can we see our faith in action right now? How aware are we of the needs of marginalized groups who live in and around Summit, Union County, and neighboring counties? The United Methodist Church's social principles serve as a guide for members to engage in thoughtful reflection, discussion, and action on pressing social issues. They are guidelines that reflect the Church's stance on various social issues. According to paragraph 509 of the Social Principles, they are not to be considered church law, but they are a prayerful and thoughtful effort on the part of the General Conference to speak to the human issues in the contemporary world from a sound biblical and theological foundation, as historically demonstrated in United Methodist traditions. They are a call to faithfulness and are intended to be instructive and persuasive in the best of the prophetic spirit. The social principles are a call to all members of the United Methodist Church to a prayerful, studied dialogue of faith and practice.
Believe in the truth of all you've said to me. I believe in the life that you have given me. I believe, I believe, I believe.
The social principle guiding this current mission proposal is paragraph 162 in the Book of Discipline on page 124, titled Alcohol and Other Drugs. I would just like to point out some of the wording. We affirm our long-standing support of abstinence from alcohol as a faithful witness to God's liberating and redeeming love for persons. We support abstinence from the use of any illegal drugs. We support educational programs as well as other prevention strategies, encouraging abstinence from illegal drugs. Drug-dependent persons and their family members, including those who are assessed or diagnosed as dependent on alcohol, are individuals of infinite human worth, deserving of treatment, rehabilitation, and ongoing life-changing recovery. We commit ourselves to assisting those who suffer from abuse or dependence and their families by finding freedom through Jesus Christ and in finding good opportunities for treatment, ongoing counseling, and for reintegration into society. The United Methodist Church's stance on alcoholism and drug addiction is one of compassion, support, and advocacy for recovery. The Church recognizes addiction as a disease. It views alcoholism and drug addiction as an illness that requires medical, psychological, and importantly, spiritual intervention. It promotes treatment and recovery. It supports the availability of treatment programs, recovery groups, and rehab services. The United Methodist Church encourages education and prevention. It advocates for educational programs to prevent substance abuse. It opposes substance abuse, stands against the misuse of alcohol and drugs, and encourages healthy, sober living. These principles reflect the Church's commitment to supporting individuals and families affected by addiction, promoting recovery, and preventing substance abuse.
So I will stop and breathe.
The United Methodist Church has missions and agencies which focus on helping people with alcoholism or drug addiction, and which can be used as resources for this mission project. The General Board of Church and Society and the United Methodist Church's Health and Welfare Ministries are particularly active in this area. They support various initiatives including addiction recovery programs, providing support groups, counseling, and rehabilitation services. They support educational campaigns, raising awareness about the dangers of substance abuse, and they support advocacy, promoting policies for better access to treatment and support for those affected by addiction.
Spinning out of control, I feel it losing my...
Before leaving the topic of substance abuse and addiction recovery, I would also like to point out an area of concern which greatly impacts the population suffering from addictions. That is the stigma that accompanies people's perceptions of this group. Mental health stigma is also addressed in the social principles.
So I will stop and breathe, rest here in your goodness. I know you won't leave, it's my confidence. So I will stop and breathe, rest here in your goodness. I know you won't leave, it's my confidence. Here I am in the palm of your hand. Nothing can take me away. Nothing can take me away. Here I am in the palm of your hand.
I've highlighted some of the main statistics which are particularly relevant to our county and surrounds. There are reports available, such as this one, which will break down the data into very important and relevant parts, such as cultural variables, access to treatment, unemployment, and the like.
Your love. There's not a height or a depth or a lie inside my head. There's not a fear or a fence, nothing can take me away. There's not a height or a depth or a lie inside my head. There's not a fear or a fence, nothing can take me away. There's not a height or a depth or a lie inside my head. There's not a fear or a fence, nothing can take me away. There's not a height or a depth or a lie inside my head.
As someone who has worked in the field of substance abuse and addiction recovery, I thought it would be helpful to point out some of my personal observations about the problems in our local surrounds. Very few individuals arrive in treatment with any knowledge about the nature of alcoholism or addiction. Individuals seeking treatment often have been to more than one inpatient treatment facility. Thousands of dollars have been spent on treatment facilities before arriving at an outpatient office. There are very few providers who will take insurance of any kind. The average stay in a treatment center can cost around $30,000. People with no insurance have very few options for health services, and the waiting times for these services are very long. there is still a very negative stigma associated with addiction and alcoholism, which deters people from seeking any kind of help. Most individuals seeking treatment also suffer with depression and anxiety. There are few therapists who speak second languages. Attendance at AA meetings has continued to be a non-cost support system. Teens and young adult rates of using alcohol and marijuana are deceptively hidden by adults who themselves have alcohol abuse. There are few places for young people to meet socially. Teens and young people in Summit and surrounds have the financial means to obtain large amounts of alcohol and drugs. Parents do not follow the law. Alcohol is often at parties where there are adults present. Here is the project I'm envisioning. A vision for everyone. A resource for all members of the recovery community. A center would be available to provide low to no cost counseling for families and individuals whose lives have been affected by addiction. We imagine a safe space that provides spiritual nurturance and the opportunity to grow along spiritual lines. The center will be unapologetically a Methodist mission, but of course, all are welcome. Some of the services we could provide include a Methodist recovery service, wellness workshops, Bible studies which integrate themes of spiritual growth in recovery, education and prevention programs, relationships with 12-step programs of recovery, teen and youth services to develop coping skills and stress reduction, and any other ideas. Take a moment to look at this equation. What is our need in the community, and what are our gifts and talents?
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless.
Here is a list of resources which will also be needed. They involve several committees on the church, the Board of Trustees, Worship, Outreach, and the Finance Committee. This proposal for a new mission project comes at a time when our church is in deep conversation about the building usage and the high costs of repairs and maintenance. I'm proposing that this project will go some way in the direction of justifying the funds needed for the building usage and repairs. Relying on the connectionism of the United Methodist Church, we can also research grants and funds which may be available to this mission. I'd like to end this presentation by reading a paragraph from the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Many people aren't aware of the historical relationship between John Wesley and the early roots of United Methodism with the founding principles of the 12-step programs of AA. The great fact is just this, and nothing less, that we have had deep and effective spiritual experiences which have revolutionized our whole attitudes towards life towards our fellows, and toward God's universe. The central fact of our lives today is the absolute certainty that our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous. He has commenced to accomplish those things for us which we could never do by ourselves.